Good evening. It's 7:01. If everyone please rise. For the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kelly, if you can take attendance, please.
Larry Fiddler, Greg J.
Here.
Brandon Tanker,
Here.
Bryce Howell, Scott Searle.
Here. All right, are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda? No, okay. Motion
Motion.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And approval of minutes from the July 9th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Somebody would like to make a motion for those?
A motion.
Thank you, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, this brings us to claims and transfers.
From the general fund, $218,847.98.
Somebody want to make a motion for that?
Motion.
Thank you, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
From water, $78,516.87.
Motion.
Thank you, second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
From wastewater, $2,319,371.72.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Payroll, $50,988.83.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The first claim is Astra Insurance invoice C-15 for the amount of $2,500.
Council, if there are no questions, does somebody want to make a motion to approve this invoice?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is Water Solutions Unlimited, invoice number 127932 for the amount of $4,083.06.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's all I have for now.
Mr. Hall?
Kent Goldman's lease, it's in your packets. We're just asking for it to be renewed again. He did drop the price down to $1, so. It's covering the rest of it.
Council, if there are no questions, does somebody want to make a motion to renew the Goldman lease?
I would only ask that, has this been approved by Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman, then
yeah.
I will make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the last thing I got is our Back to Blue fundraisers coming up the 24th. I'd like to see everyone attend. A lot of vendors support. A lot of the local businesses will be there. It will be at CBRC this year, not here. We ran out of parking last year, it was just too crowded. So, yes,
And the weather didn't cooperate that well last year.
yeah, it's cold.
So now it can rain or do whatever. We got 100, we'll be indoors.
Yeah,
That'd be nice.
it's this month, August 24th. That's all I got, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, sir. All right, this brings us to Jason.
The first item we have is water main extension. But first of all, I will say you do have in your packet a report from HWC that does touch on all of these issues, but I'll kind of give you the highlights of what we've got going. On the water main extension, that is the 10-inch water main that's going to be going under 70 to connect up to Poet. We still have 3 easements. We just reviewed one this evening with U.S. Aggregates, American Aggregates, I'm sorry, which is Martin Marietta, and Mr. Shagley is okay with the language in that easement, so that will be signed. We've got a commitment from Eric Heyman for an easement, and we just have one little thing we need to work out with PEI, which is the contractor that's there on 231 north of 70. So we're real close to having that wrapped up, so I'm glad for that. The Lieber wastewater project, again, that's in the report that HWC provided to you. One thing that we have been working on, a side note, and the clerk has been involved both, and I've been keeping Brandon abreast of this as well. Looks like this project's going very, very well right now, and we are going to be we feel like we're going to be under budget by quite a bit of money. We are now in the process of putting together some additional projects that we could pay for out of contingency. We're trying to get the numbers put together right now. So between Reynolds Construction, which is the contractor that has the contract to do this whole project, and HWC Engineering, we're putting a list of things together. We're thinking it could be in the $500,000 range, which is pretty substantial. So we're going to do a few other projects that really need to be done to the wastewater project. Otherwise, that's coming along pretty well. We hope to have that whole project wrapped up October-ish, maybe November-ish. But most everything is complete out of Lieber. The only thing we really have left here in town is we've got some lining to do on the sewers, and that's going to be the important thing to eliminate the I&I that we've been getting over the last several years. So, but a lot of the big parts of the project are complete, so that's exciting. Stormwater project, I know the last meeting I said that they told me they would be here August the 1st. They've since changed that to August the 19th. So hopefully we're going to see them next week. But that is the last date they gave me to start on that project. That's a stormwater project which is going to be taking care of some issues out of Stardust. Stardust Way will be a rebuild of that road, and then a few other projects, the downtown area, and then south on Doe Creek Road. So hopefully the 19th, we're going to see some action starting with that. Street sign contract. This is the street sign grant that we applied for through Federal Highway. We did select an engineer through that process. We had 3 that were interviewed. 3 that were interviewed. Was it maybe 2? I don't remember. We interviewed in the folks that submitted the letters of interest, and HWC was selected. We do have a contract, and I think you have it, or maybe Kelly has that right now. And we do need to get signed. This work will not actually start until 2025. That's when it's actually funded, but we're ahead of the game getting all of this done. So we just ask for your approval on this contract with HWC, and we won't see these signs erected until probably late summer 2025. And it's also in the budget. We intend to put it in the budget for 2025, which we're going to have a budget workshop this Thursday. So we just need if you're okay with the agreement, the contract, we just need
And this work good?
Yeah, I have no problem, yeah.
Council, does somebody want to make a motion to approve the HWC contract for the sign, street sign inventory?
No motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. The next thing, I've left it on here, but I've not got anything more to report on annexation, but we're still working on that slowly. Basketball court, I know I told you last meeting that it was supposed to be under construction in July. I got a call and the did not happen in July, and we'll be halfway through the month of August, and it's still not under construction. It's like most contractors, it seems like they just keep getting backed up and backed up. So I did reach out to them last week, and they anticipate the end of this month or the 1st of September. So I am very anxious to get this going. I've been anxious to get this going for quite some time. Putnam County Foundation is the organization that is funding the biggest part of this. I have had conversations with them that we are still proceeding with this project. It's just a timeliness issue.
For the record, I asked Jason to have this thing, I wanted to complete it in the spring. So we are a little behind schedule, but we're at the mercy of, like Jason just said, contractor at this point.
Some of it, we did have some difficulties with getting the park board able to meet in April and May, so that
Together for the
delayed,
quorum.
it a little bit. So, but we'll get there.
Absolutely,
We're getting things done.
yeah.
The next thing on the item on the agenda is truck stop road, and you should have a aerial of that road that I'm going to be talking to you about in your packet. It is the road it's actually not even a road, it's a private drive between the truck stop and Arby's that goes back to Edge Materials, if you're familiar with where I'm talking about. So Beagle Club Road, the opposite direction going west. I did have a conversation with the owner of that private drive, which is Eric Heyman, and he is interested in turning that road over to the town. Now, we've been reluctant to do that for a couple of reasons. One, the condition of it was in pretty bad disrepair. It did get resurfaced just last week, or the week before last. It is probably not up to the standards that we would typically require, but it is greatly improved from where it is. There are two parts with that. One is, we had talked that we would possibly do the same thing we did with Bennington Way at some point, which is take ownership of that private drive and then go in for Community Crossings matching grant to upgrade that. He's wanting to deed that over to us immediately. It is upgraded to at least temporarily, a reasonable standard. I'm not gonna say it's gonna last us 10 years, but I'm guessing it's gonna give us a few years, so it would buy us the time to get the engineering done and go in for community crossings. Now, the second part of that is, if we agree to this, he would be willing to give us easement for the water main extension with no cost to us. But the other part is, we're going to need easement along this section of road for the water main when we do that final section there. There's just a short section between 231 back to where Heyman's property starts that we do not have a 10-inch main for. So we will need an easement there, which we don't have yet. So there are benefits to going ahead and obtaining this. I do think that him resurfacing that probably bought us some time, and I would say a few years. I did have conversations with Brandon about this, and he wanted to bring it to the full board's, full council's attention. I would be okay with doing it, especially since there are a couple other things that go along with it. But I would kind of like a commitment that at some point we are going to go in for CCMG too.
I think there's great benefit. It's our gateway into Cloverdale, up at that end off of 70. We've done so much around the McDonald's area. If we do the same on the other side, it's going to be appealing to future growth out there. So I'm all in favor of moving forward, developing it.
And it's very similar to the Bennington Way. That was not acceptable, but we did it for the long term and for the, as
Now, where does it actually start?
Right there, call it in front of Arby's.
Yeah.
But it is not on,
Between Arby's and truck stops.
Arby's,
straight west.
how far back?
Back to what they call that, do they call it Heyman Way? Jack's Way is what they call it.
Oh.
It's really not a street. The road that goes north-south behind the storage units, up behind the depot, the water pay station. So it goes from 231 to there. or at least roughly, that's what we've discussed. It has not been surveyed. I have had contact with Greg at ASA Surveying in Greencastle about that. And we're gonna converse about that, exactly where we want it to go to. There are actually two parcels, I don't know how it was done or why it was done this way, but there's actually two parcels that, two real thin strips. And on that arrow that's in your packet, you can see it. But it's just two basically the same size parcels that go all the way from 231 back to Jack's Way that he would deed to us. But at that time, we're responsible for maintaining it. So, you know, we're gonna have to start plowing it, and we're going to have to start fixing potholes if they ever.
What did he start? He just resurfaced it, how many inches did he put on it?
I don't even know.
Patched some of it and sealed it. I mean, it's not a great job, but it's probably a 3 or 4 year job.
Yeah, it probably, if it were a regular street, we'd be getting 10, 15 years out of it. The problem is, you've got
Traffic.
dump trucks, you've got
Heavy loads.
Cement trucks.
cement trucks, all the semis coming in and out. It's gonna
Terrible.
tear it up. But again, if we're going to go in CCMG, which I think was our intent on that, then all this does is just buys us time. So if it were not resurfaced, I wouldn't be having this conversation right now, but it is resurfaced, and there are some side benefits that Eric has committed to us. One is that he'll grant us the easement. We also don't have to get easement for the water line. There are some benefits like that.
But it only makes sense to plan for the future of developing it as we did Bennington Way. I mean, like I said, it is the first stopping point off of 70.
I think that was your intentions when we talked about the bigger road plan a few years ago. This is just coming a little earlier than I was anticipating, but he's made the offer now, and now may be the time to.
I think there's gonna be quite a bit of maintenance just by the heavy truck traffic. I mean, I see the good in it, but, you know, how long is it gonna be before we're fixing these potholes? And you've seen how bad it was before. Yes, quite an improvement.
Yeah, my preference would be is, and maybe we need to talk about this at another point, but a long-time strategic plan, and we do have our asset management plan for our streets. I think I've got another project in mind for our next CCMG project, and just so you know, the state increased that from $1 million, where it was $1 million maximum, it's 1.5 million now. So that gives us a little bit more flexibility. I guess I have another street in mind for the next CCMG project, but I was thinking the project after that CCMG project would be that road that Eric is
So if we
asking to
can get
keep.
3 years out of it,
I think it buys us the
gets
time
us into
to,
that timeframe to.
and I feel pretty confident we're gonna get a few years out of it.
And then futuristically speaking, possibly that road even further west.
That's always a possibility. Something I honestly would like to do is if we do go into CCMG, and if it's, let's say it's 3 years from now, my preference would be for that to be a concrete road, not an asphalt. Just because of the weight. I mean, that's getting a huge amount of, those concrete trucks are monstrous. So, you know, when this starts to break up, which we know will happen, at that point, that's when we make the decision to go, or at least consider going concrete. The nice thing is we've got a concrete facility. Just a few, yeah, maybe the tow or the hauling bill will be cheap, but. So, but Eric is asking for us to, we really can't truly make a full decision on this because we don't have the legal description, and we're gonna have to get a deed for it prepared to be able to take ownership of it. He's just asking for the blessing to move forward with this in anticipation that he will accept it.
So I'm gonna voice my opinion, but before I do so, I promise to the public that we are working on getting this television fixed to where we could have put this map up on the TV tonight so that you could see exactly the area that we're talking about. with that out of the way, I think it's council's direction that we have our foot on the accelerator, and we don't wanna slow up. And knowing that it's not a matter of if, but when parcels start to sell up at that intersection, we are positioning ourselves to be ready for that, right? That's everything that's going on up there right now, that is what we're getting in line for.
That's a great thing.
I think it would be in the best interest for the town to accept the ownership of the road. Yes, trucks are going to tear it up, but that's part of doing business. We have a huge plant that is still in the works, that it is going to be built at the end of that road currently, and who knows what else is going to come. Again, it's not if, but when. And I think doing this with this intent, it only better suits the town to be ready for when that time does come. So, just my opinion, I agree with Greg that we need to give Jason the, hey, council's on board to accept the ownership of whatever you call this road at this point. Yes, sir.
Well, on that road, first of all, the public assumes that it's a town road now.
They do 100%.
But once you turn off of 231
Mhm.
and you go past the right-of-way for 231,
Mhm.
it is Hayman's Road.
Correct.
Yes.
And quite frankly, before they just repaved it, it was in better shape than a lot of the other roads in Cloverdale. It didn't have as many chuck holes in it as Stardust Way has.
I disagree with that
Just repaved it
comment.
again.
I disagree with that
It's had-
comment.
It's had several years of heavy truck traffic on it and parking on it, and they have repaved all that. And Hayman extended that to the other road that joins in it at Motel 8. So that's all paved, and it's withstood the test of time with the heavy truck traffic that's been on it for years. And so I would say acquiring it is the right thing to do, and it certainly would add to the mileage of the town's roads that they get remittance from the state for.
I agree with that comment. Do you have anything else on this?
I'm good.
Right. So if we don't need to vote on this, I mean, you have our verbal
We have
blessing.
to make a motion.
We'll have to approve,
What is there to
at
approve?
some point we'll have to accept the road, but first we have to get it surveyed. Right now, you just give them authority to
I would
move
say
forward,
I'll motion that we go ahead and move forward and prepare for it.
and then,
A second.
yeah, and then next month, I think we should have the legal description deed, and we can approve it then, once we know exactly what we're taking.
Okay. All in favor?
I,
Aye. I think it's great. It's what we need.
That's all I have. I've got more. Wow.
Okay, Kelly.
You have all the monthly reports in your packet. As Jason alluded to earlier, budget talks are underway. The last one will take place Thursday. Then we'll get the budget all put together. So our September meeting will be the public hearing. So we'll need to make sure we have a forum for that. That'll be the public hearing, and then the budget, the adoption hearing will be in October. Only other thing I wanted to mention is we did have our federal compliance audit. That is finished and that has been published. Council already received a copy of all of that. There were no findings. It took, I haven't received the invoice yet, but it took, I think she said 3 to 4 days. 3 to 4 days to complete that. The other good news is, it was not, I was wrong, it was not $900 an hour, it's $900 a day. So that is a little easier to swallow.
the zeros.
But the good news is that it was only 3 to 4 days, so, yeah, so that's done, and that's all I have.
Look at it as a good way of building expectation.
Well, it was funny when we were in that meeting and Kelly asked the auditor about the rate, and she said, no, it's day, not hour. I thought Kelly was gonna jump out of her chair out of excitement. It was a huge sigh of relief, for sure. So, that's good. Okay, perfect. This brings us to ordinance 2024-6, amending salary ordinance. This is a first reading. This is pertaining to the deputy clerk number 2 position, which all council members are aware of. If there are no questions on this, I'd like a council member to make a motion for
We'll
approval.
make a motion, we go ahead and accept it.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we need to do the second reading?
I don't think we do.
If you want to, if you want that position to take effect.
I mean,
That way we can-
Yeah, all council members are aware, and so, yeah, let's,
We've been discussing, so I'll go ahead and say we go ahead and do the second reading.
that's your motion?
That is my motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Jason, do you have anything else?
Do not give me that up, would you?
Kelly? Okay. Before I open it up to citizens' comments, again, just wanted to reiterate about the Back to Blue event on August the 24th, 2024 at C-Bar-C. Also, Cloverdale Main Street reached out to me to help promote their annual Cloverween event that is going to be on the 28th of September, located at Cloverdale High School. Those hours are from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. They got a 5K parade, costume contest, vendors, etc. You can go to Cloverdale Main Street on Facebook and check that event out for further information and details. But I told those folks that I would definitely make mention of it this meeting and also revisit it in our September meeting. So, this time, is there anything from the public? Yes, sir?
Well, I do have a question about Stardust Road and Stardust Hills, obviously, that we were indicated that this was going to be repaid this year. And we had a sign put up 1st of May that there was going to be progress made, and now that sign is down and gone, and we're now into mid-August, and the question is, are we going to do any paving in Stardust Hills this year?
You want to answer that, Jason?
I answered it earlier. August the 19th is when the contractor is going to be here. The sign that was up there earlier was the wastewater project, not for the stormwater project.
So the stormwater project is going to commence later this month?
The 19th, which
They've
is,
had my basin starting.
And
you
how long do
asked
they
at the last
anticipate
meeting, and I
that
said it was
taking?
August the 1st, and then they've since reached out to me, and they've said August the 19th. That is when the contractor says they will be here.
Okay, and
To
so
start on
then
stormwater project.
after that is completed,
They said 30 days, actually they've got 60 days is what they said, but they think they'll be done in 30 days.
so is paving to be done after they are completed?
Within 60 days of August the 19th.
Is pavement?
The entire project will be complete 60 days after August the 19th, is what they told us. Which include, that's part of the
So
project,
60
the
days,
entire project.
Okay.
but they think they're gonna do it in 30.
I do have another question, and it's, what it pertains to what I conceive as being a violation of zoning in Stardust Hills, and so I think probably it should go to the Plan Commission first. And so with that question, when is the Plan Commission have a meeting, and what do I need to do to get on that agenda?
These go to the county. Do you want me to address this, or?
Go ahead.
The town of Cloverdale is now under the Unified Development Ordinance. The county handles all of these issues. So Lisa Ziner is who you want to contact with a violation. If in fact that needs to go to a plan commission would go to an area plan commission. It's not the Cloverdale Plan Commission. It's an area plan commission, and they would hear any of those issues.
So we don't have a plan commission in Cloverdale.
That is correct.
So I need to go to the area plan commission,
Yes.
but we have to go through the permit office in Greencastle to get on that agenda.
Yes.
And
And
they
if you
determine
want-
whether or not it's worthwhile going.
And if you want, we can get you Lisa's contact information after this meeting,
Good.
okay?
I need all the help I can get.
We'll get you that information as soon as we adjourn here, okay? Got anything else?
No, that'll do it for now.
Perfect. Anybody else? Okay, this meeting is adjourned.
The building, what's the violation there? What's the violation you're concerned about?
What's the violation?